Doing business in any context is difficult, but in rural and regional Australia, so Northern Australia where our project is, there are some special challenges. First of all, many of the Aboriginal communities that we work in, there are lots of them for one thing. There are over 240 different language groups just in the Kimberley region alone. For many of the women that we work with, English is not their first language. So we're trying to create this sort of sense of identity when there's actually lots of different nations and different groups. And then there's some practical sort of challenges of doing work in, again, very rural and remote WA and different parts of Northern Australia, and that's the distances. So these places are very far from the markets that they're trying to actually reach. So we're trying to think about how we can help them use digital tools in places where, again, the network spottage or the network coverage can be spotty. The other things that are quite different is just sort of the nuance. This is a place with two seasons. There's a wet season and a dry season, and during the wet season, a lot of sort of things, many of the communities are shut off completely. So people aren't able to travel. So their businesses might even just not be operating during the wet season. Whereas the dry, that time of the year, that's when the world comes to see these beautiful places where the women that we support live, and so they're very busy, and the work cycle and season can be really intensive. Some of the really unique things that I found, certainly coming from a capital city and now working in remote Australia, is that their concept of distances is very different. So it'll be, we're just going to pop down to this community. Well, popping somewhere in Western Australia might be a 5-hour drive in a 4-wheel drive on unsealed roads, which, me coming from capital cities in the south part of Australia, that was very, very unique. Also, there's a different sort of entrepreneurial process. So the women that we work with, they are living in really highly connected communities. And so the goal is often to try to include members of their family, so their immediate family and their extended family, into their businesses. And so it's not necessarily about, we need to go out and put an ad in the paper and get the person who applies for that job. They're going to be thinking about, I have a cousin, or I have a sister, or I have someone in their immediate family that they're thinking about how they can get involved in their business. And that's very much a strong motivation for why they would choose self-employment.